Special coverage as Central Florida prepares for Hurricane Dorian.
I'm Danielle Knox. It is good to see you this morning. The very latest advisory just in from the National Hurricane Center. Jamie is here with that. Jamie, this is kind of what we have all been waiting for here.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, we continue to see that that cone there shifting more over toward the immediate eastern section of the peninsula here. So it's really skinnied up. You can see it does still include Brevard County on down the Indian River County, Sebastian Inlet State Park, and then begins to veer back out into the Atlantic around the Treasure Coast. So this is fantastic news, but not everybody out just yet. But it does verify this track with some of the very latest modeling coming on in to the Weather Center here at Fox 35. So some substantial news there, some very good news. But keeping in mind, this could change again as it's been doing on and off. But this is a very good sign now, following in line again with the forecast thinking of the modeling and a host of other variables that we are factoring into the overall track of this storm. This thing's hardly moving. It has not made that turn. It is still westerly, moving west at 1 mile per hour, if at all. So it's sitting there, just really giving it to the islands here, right around Freeport. It's Freeport right here. They are ready and watchful of this as it continues moving in that direction. Those strong, impactful winds in that eye wall with tropical storm force conditions expanding out 140 miles, roughly around 45 to 50 miles with hurricane intensity. Here's a look at the spaghetti plot modeling showing again a solution keeping that eye offshore on its current forecast track. It still could produce effects here in Central Florida, so we want everyone to stay aware of what's happening. Outer rain bands now moving on in towards Central Florida, dropping heavy rain, moving through at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So as fast as it arrives, it moves on down the line just as quick. Local wind gusts 30 at Melbourne, 28 out of Daytona Beach. And here's a look at current watches and warnings. So stay up to snuff on this. We'll continue to update you throughout the day here at 35. For now at 11:02, I want to send it back to Ryan and Danielle on the desk.
We appreciate it, Jamie. Thanks so much. So this morning we have some brand new video of Hurricane Dorian. Take a look at this. Heavy winds and rains hitting Freeport in the Bahamas very hard. That storm moving through the islands and towards the Florida coast. Back here at home in Central Florida, evacuations underway this morning.
And that includes the coastal county of Brevard County, where people are hoping there to get out while there is still time. And the news station's Mike Magnolia is live for us in downtown Melbourne this morning. Mike, good morning. What is the situation there this morning?
Historic downtown Melbourne, and there are a lot of popular restaurants and bars and shops around here. Well, you can see Meg O'Malley's, the sandbags in front of the front doors. You also have the storm shutters up, and we'll walk alongside the street here. All of the businesses shuttered up because coastal Brevard County could really get it. Now, I've been talking to folks out here, and I talked with the sheriff and the commissioners in the county late yesterday afternoon and into the night, and I said, look, if this cone of uncertainty keeps shifting east, the east solution, would you guys possibly rescind that evacuation order? They told me absolutely not. They don't want to take any chances. We could still see very powerful effects of Dorian here in Melbourne and elsewhere in Brevard County. More boarded up windows down there right now, the downtown area. Very quiet, except for the sound of nails, hammers, and storm shutters and plywood going up. Live in Melbourne, I'm Mike Magnolia, Fox 35 News.
Mike, thanks. Now let's go to Flagler County, getting an update now on what they're doing to prepare for Dorian.
We do want to take you live there right now to a news conference that's happening. Let's go ahead and listen in.
Make sure your evacuation is complete by 3 p.m. tomorrow. Capabilities as soon as the order is issued, again at noon today. We have already opened our special needs shelter at Rimfire Elementary School.
Having some audio issues there in Flagler County. We'll continue to check back. Of course, they're recovering still from Hurricane Michael.
Absolutely.
Or Matthew, and has a similar path, so we'll check back in later with Flagler County. Now let's shift gears to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, giving another update on the storm. He recently gave an update in Tallahassee. He had a message of vigilance.
Our East Coast certainly is within the cone still, and people need to remain vigilant. If you're ordered to evacuate, you need to do that from Palm Beach County all the way up to Nassau, the Florida-Georgia border. All those coastal counties have issued evacuation orders.
And the governor adding that the latest track is about 100 miles off the coast of West Palm Beach, and the storm is stalling out, moving at only 1 mile an hour.
That is incredibly slow. And in the meantime, federal officials are preparing for the worst. FEMA deploying urban search and rescue teams to Florida and Georgia. They've also added staff to support medical evacuations if necessary. The Department of Homeland Security says the feds are working with states and local governments across the region.
Well, the news station monitoring Hurricane Dorian as well. We will have expanded coverage around the clock as well. Also, be sure to download that Fox 35 weather app where you can get the latest on Dorian's track. And, of course, watch us live on the app. We've had a number of people ask about that this morning. Of course, if you lose power, that is something you'll want to have.
It's a very important thing to have. I've downloaded it. I've used it. I used it this morning when I woke up this morning. It's extremely easy to use. So if you haven't done so, a really important tool to have. The time right now is 11:06. We continue to track the path of Hurricane Dorian. As you know, that 11 o'clock advisory just came out. You're taking a live look right now out there at the waters, and you know there are going to be people who are going to be getting out there and trying to brave the surf, but probably best to stay onshore.
Let's take you all around Central Florida when we come back.
is left behind on Great Abaco Island. The roofs ripped off, cars crumpled, trees and power lines torn down. Dorian is the strongest storm to hit the Northwest Bahamas in recorded history.
Amazing. And take a look at this. The storm's latest path. The storm basically stalling out over the Bahamas. Now, the big question this afternoon is, when will it start to make that turn that everybody has been talking about? Good afternoon to you once again. It's good to see you as we continue our team coverage of Hurricane Dorian. I'm Danielle Knox.
And I'm Bob Fryer. We're continuing that team coverage as Central Florida gets ready for Hurricane Dorian. Let's head right over to meteorologist Brooks Tomlin for the very latest on the storm. Brooks?
All right, good afternoon, Bob, Danielle. Good afternoon, everybody. Monday afternoon, Labor Day, not how we want to spend it, but again, starting to look a little more cautiously optimistic when we look at the track. That being said, hurricane warning in effect for Brevard County, same thing for coastal Volusia County. I expect the hurricane watch in Flagler County to be changed to a warning as we go through the afternoon. Tropical storm warnings for a lot of Central Florida, including Orlando. Here's the latest visible satellite. We are zoomed into Grand Bahama Island right here. There's the center of Dorian. It looks like it's trying to start to lift a little bit to the north, not calling the turn yet by any stretch of the imagination. And I mentioned this a few minutes ago. There's a weather station on the west end of Grand Bahama Island, about 40 miles from the center. It's reporting north winds around 45 to 50 miles an hour. So when we talk about the winds with Dorian being 155 miles an hour right now, we're talking right in that eye wall. And again, the latest forecast track from the National Hurricane Center does keep Dorian to the east, and that's growing in confidence. All right, so here we go with the forecast track. Tomorrow morning, look, if you have plans today or if you Yeah, okay. We'll go back to Bob and Danielle real quick. We'll have more on Dorian in a few.
Yeah, we did that because breaking news right now, Brooks, Orange County leaders holding a press conference at the Emergency Operations Center.
Let's listen in right now.
All right. Thank you all for being here, especially on this unusual Labor Day as we prepare for Hurricane Dorian. Thank you to our elected officials and others for being here as we provide additional information and update to our community about the effects of this hurricane. Our latest information shows that the storm has slowed down to 1 mile per hour and has yet to really make the turn. Based on the latest models, we expect to start feeling the winds from Hurricane Dorian about 24 hours from now. That would make it around noon tomorrow on Tuesday. The effects of the storm are expected to stay with us until Wednesday afternoon, so we have quite a lengthy period of time that we'll likely be experiencing some effects from this storm. Because of the slowness of the storm, Orange County and the courts will be closed for normal business on Tuesday and Wednesday. The new information here is that Orange County government will be closed for normal business on Wednesday. You will be hearing shortly from the Chief Judge Myers to share information about the impact on the courts itself. We continue to monitor this massive storm, which is still a Category 5 storm with 175 mile per hour winds. While we hope the impact from the storm will be minimal, we must continue to prepare as this storm is extremely dangerous and its path is at this time really uncertain. We hope for the best, but we must plan for the worst. Already, more than 150 of our local residents have sought shelter in our various shelters here within Orange County. I remind you, the public, to visit our website at ocfl.net/shelters for a list of available shelters nearest to you, or you can contact us again through 311 by dialing 311 on your cellular phones or landline phones. Orange County has 9 general shelters open, which includes 4 pet-friendly shelters and 2 special needs or medical shelters. Today, Orange County also made the shelter at the Ocoee High School a pet-friendly shelter to accommodate residents on the west side who would like to bring their pets with them. I would say that please note that there are no showering facilities available at shelters, and you must bring your own bedding. If you require special needs, we again ask members of our public to contact us and register via the 311 line that I have mentioned already, or you can go on our website again at ocfl.net/PSN. That's for our people with special needs. Links will also be working with the city and county officials to transport homeless individuals to designated shelters throughout the county. In terms of price gouging, today I signed an executive order prohibiting gouging, including retail prices for goods, materials, gas, storage facilities, hotels, and even apartment rentals. If you want to report price gouging, we ask you to contact our local law enforcement authorities if you believe that you've been a victim of price gouging. Also, the Florida Attorney General has set up a hotline, and its number is 1-866-966-7226, and we'll have that posted as well. More than 194,000 sandbags have been distributed. The sandbag sites are now closed. In terms of garbage, we had suspended garbage for today, garbage collections for today and Tuesday has been included as well, and Wednesday. So there will be no garbage collection today, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Wednesday is an addition to what we had previously said to the public. We're also asking you to secure your roll carts, large items, and yard waste, including tree trimmings, which might become projectiles in the storm. We ask that you take those items into your garage or house them in a shed or closer to your home, but not near the curb where it could possibly block storm drains. The landfill and the Port of Transfer Station will be open today until 5 p.m. Fees for yard waste from homeowners will be waived today. In other words, if you have yard waste and you take it to our landfill or the Port of Transfer Station, it will be free. You can find additional information about this also from our website at ocfl.net/waste sites. Now for information on our parks. We shared with you yesterday that we made a decision to open our parks. We really want our families, to the extent that they can, to enjoy the amenities while they can here in Orange County. So our parks will be open in Orange County until 3 p.m. Now, let me share some additional information for our residents. Any further non-emergency questions can be answered by contacting the 311 call center as well. Also, our OCFL 311 app is available, and our 311 call center will be open until 11 p.m. Tonight. As a reminder, all Orange County shelters are open today, and again, there is a list of shelters on our website. At this time, I'm going to ask our acting emergency operations director to come forward and share additional preparedness information with you. He'll be followed then by the Orange County Sheriff and Fire Chief. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Demings. Again, we want to message about the storm conditions. Right now, the very latest, just before walking in the room, it is now at a Category 4 status, 155 miles an hour wind. It's still a very dangerous, powerful storm. And the message is, do not turn your back on this storm. It is not near us yet. It's still coming, heading generally up toward the Central Florida off-coast area. So we don't want you to be complacent. We don't want you to think that we're out of danger. We are not. With the slowness of the storm movement, it's moving west at 1 mile per hour. It has still not made that long-anticipated turn toward the north. But with that slowing a little bit, the storm is undergoing changes. The hurricane is expanding in the wind field area, which means that more of the inland county area will be covered by those tropical storm force or potentially higher wind gusts. So we want to make sure that we are prepared. You have time. The slowness also gives us a little bit more time to prepare at home. So make sure your homes are prepared by securing those loose items in the yard, that your families are well prepared. If you need any last-minute supplies to carry you through 3 to 7 days of potential power outages, please do so now while you still have time remaining. We are now under a tropical storm warning. It has been upgraded to a warning, which means that we can expect tropical storm conditions within the next 36 hours. We want to talk about shelters, and we remind people that our shelters are open to anyone seeking shelter from the hurricane. If you come to a shelter, bring your bedding. You are allowed to bring a cot, a single-person cot, or a single-person air mattress to any of our shelters. Food will be provided at the shelter locations. If you have special dietary needs, you need to bring those special diet items with you. At our special needs shelters, they are also will be fed there, and they will have the special appropriate diets available there. As one of the items that we want to get out is about our area population for those persons that are experiencing homelessness. There are arrangements being made. Links will be able to be picking you up at designated spots, as we have done in the past. That word is getting out, being led by the area's homeless services network. They are contacting our homeless camps and making sure that they have a safe place to seek shelter from the hurricane. If you need any transportation, please don't hesitate to notify Orange County 311 at 407-836-3111 and express your needs to them, and they will contact the appropriate county agencies to do what we can to help you. I'd like now to turn it over to Chief Judge Myers for his comments.
Good afternoon. As you know, the courts were already closed on Tuesday. Based on the timing and speed of the hurricane's approach and what we anticipate in the way of dangerous winds, combined with school closures, county government closures, and other factors, we've made the decision to close the courthouse in both Orange and Osceola County on Wednesday as well. All court hearings that were scheduled for both Tuesday and Wednesday have been canceled. Those hearings will be rescheduled. If you have been summoned as a juror to appear in Orange or Osceola County on Tuesday or Wednesday, you are excused from your jury service. All of the emergency duty functions of the court continue uninterrupted at this time, and we anticipate that that will continue throughout the storm, regardless of its impacts. At this time, I'll turn it over to the Sheriff, John Mina.
Thank you, Chief Judge. So the men and women of the Orange County Sheriff's Office remain ready and prepared to respond. In terms of a curfew, we are going to make that decision either later today or first thing tomorrow, but we will ensure that if there is a curfew that is established, we'll give everyone plenty of notice. And please follow all of our social media on Orange County Sheriff's Office as well as Orange County government, and you'll be notified immediately if indeed we do enforce a curfew. But we'll make that determination later. As you know, the storm is moving very slowly at this time, so we'll make a determination later today or early tomorrow morning. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Scott Howitt from Orange County Public Schools.
Thank you, Sheriff Mina. Earlier this morning, Orange County Public Schools announced that in addition to being closed on Tuesday, we will also cancel school for Wednesday, September 4th. The predetermined school makeup days will be October 18th and November 25th, and they are posted on our website under our Hurricane Dorian information page. All student activities and non-school activities taking place on our campuses are canceled. We encourage parents and employees to listen for phone call updates, as well as following us on Facebook at Orange County Public Schools and on Twitter at OCPS News. We also will be updating our website at ocps.net. We ask that our families, our employees, and our students stay safe during the storm. Now I'll turn it over to Tiffany Hawkins from Lynx.
Thank you, Scott. Lynx continues its regularly scheduled Labor Day service for today for its regular bus, NeighborLink, and limo service. Access Lynx has moved to life-sustaining trips only, as well as the movement of special needs passengers to shelters. We have done about 30 of those special needs movements, transports in Orange County, and will continue to do so at the request. As a reminder, Lynx will stop all services at 35-mile-an-hour sustained winds or when a curfew is in place. And as of now, we are anticipating normal operations tomorrow morning. Please monitor our website at golynx.com, Twitter, Facebook, and you can always call customer service 407-841-5969, 407-841-LYNX. Now I'd like to bring up Carrie Hennigan from the American Red Cross.
Thank you, Tiffany. And thank you, Mayor and officials. We appreciate everybody working with the Red Cross. We've been working with our officials very closely. We want to let you know our Red Cross is here. We're ready. We have brought in additional trained Red Cross personnel as well as materials. We're ready to go as soon as the storm hits, pre-storm, during storm, and after storm. We have brought in additional blood products to pre-position in different area hospitals. We also want to encourage everybody to download the Red Cross app. It's the Red Cross Emergency app, where you can go on and find additional emergency information, as well as you can mark yourself well and safe during the storm. Thank you.
Okay, let me just open it up for questions. I do remind you also that we're fortunate to have many of our state officials here with our local officials as we prepare for this storm. We do have one cohesive group that has planned for the best outcomes possible.
Mayor Demings, wrapping up with this news conference right now, going to take a few questions. Really, the takeaway in all of this, though, is there's a lot of logistics to go into preparing for a storm, and it sounds like they've got everything ready, from closings to whether or not they're going to continue to run all the bus service schedules. All of those things you can find on our website, fox35orlando.com.
One of the important things that he did mention, too, is that Orange County courts are going to be closed Tuesday and Wednesday. Shelters are open right now. One of the important things is that there are going to be several pet-friendly shelters as well. If you need to bring your pets, you can do that. There are several of those open as well. If you have a non-emergency related issue, call 311. Don't call 911. Right. 311 is the number to call for that. Lynx is running as well until the winds reach 35 miles per hour.
We had interrupted Brooks's forecast there for a minute. We want to get back to Brooks. And Brooks, I saw the National Hurricane Center says the thing is moving west-northwest at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. The 12 o'clock advisory, west-northwest at a whopping 1 mile an hour. But again, you can take a look. This is the infrared satellite from the last 12 hours, and you can see it finally is starting to move just a hair to the north, and that's encouraging. Again, cautiously optimistic right now that since Friday, we've been noticing a lot of the forecast guidance continues to keep Hurricane Dorian offshore. Cautiously optimistic that will happen. Now, at 11 o'clock, Jamie King, Kristen Giannis brought it to you, the latest forecast track from the Hurricane Center. Now, still tomorrow morning, it's going to be well to the south and east east of us, but look, as we go through the day tomorrow, it should pass offshore about probably somewhere between 50 and 100 miles east of us. More on that in just a minute. Now, tomorrow evening, really starting to see the weather start to deteriorate rapidly as we go through the day tomorrow. So if you have any more plans or preparations to get them done today, get them done tomorrow morning, because as we go through tomorrow afternoon, the weather should deteriorate. And how much it deteriorates is really going to be a factor of how far offshore Dorian is. Right now, you can see the cone of uncertainty from the Hurricane Center has shrunk, still including the coastal counties. So again, we're cautiously optimistic that right now Dorian will track offshore. And then by Wednesday morning and through the day Wednesday, Dorian well to the north of us will see much improving conditions with gusty west winds coming into play and a lot of sunshine returning through the day on Wednesday. Last thing I'll leave you with on this go around, I want to show you the track of Dorian, or at least the forecast track. That's in red right here, and the forecast cone. What are the other lines? This blue line right here, 3 years ago, Hurricane Matthew, as it passed right offshore. This blue line, if you remember, about 20 years ago, Hurricane Floyd as it passed by offshore, and then Hurricane Hugo. So right now, if the forecast holds, it does look like Dorian will track a little further east or a little further offshore than Matthew did. We'll have the full latest on Dorian and, again, some different scenarios and what we can expect here in Central Florida in just a few minutes.
Brooks, thank you much.
All right, Brooks, thanks. 12:19. Mandatory evacuations underway right now in Brevard County.
Parts of the county urged to get out while there is still some time. We've got the news station's Mike Magnoli. He's live out there in Melbourne. Hey, Mike.
Good afternoon. We're in the Atlantic Melbourne area, and right now there's a crowd of folks, maybe 100 people or more, taking pictures of the impressive surf that we are seeing from Dorian. And the water has already come up very, very high up the beach. Matter of fact, it's creeping closer and closer to the boardwalk. So when you talk about how far east is this thing going to be, what kind of winds could we see here? Well, certainly you've got the potential for hurricane force winds. You have some potential for storm surge. And think about this. Over the past couple of months, Brevard County has been spending tens of millions of dollars on beach renourishment, building the reef out there, relocating sand from all of the damage from previous storms, and they just completed that about 2 weeks ago, and now you have Dorian off our coast. So certainly a lot of folks in the county, a lot of officials concerned that all of that work that's been done could be undone. Very, very impressive surf right now. You can see all of the white caps. It actually, in terms of weather though, kind of pleasant right now. You get that breeze, windy, but a lot of people coming out here to take it in. They know that this might be their last chance to do that before things get really ugly out here. As you guys were saying, coastal Brevard County, the barrier island, is in an evacuation order that went into effect yesterday morning, and a lot of people have heeded that and have gotten out of Dodge. We were trying to find a cup of coffee this morning. I can tell you a lot of the restaurants, a lot of the businesses and shops around here have closed up. They say that they hope to reopen on Wednesday, but it's anybody's guess at this point. But definitely a lot of folks have left this area. We're live in Melbourne. I'm Mike Magnoli, Fox 35 News.
Mag, thank you. Going to want to get those folks off that beach at some point here. We're going to take a quick break, but again, the takeaway, we are in a very crucial time with this storm. We're looking for any bit of information that comes through on whether or not the storm is starting to make that turn.
And this is the place to be to get that information, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
A glimmer of hope, though. We're liking
West
the way
to
the
northwest,
cone,
yeah.
yes, the way the turn is happening, and we like that the cone is shifting just slightly. Let's get right over to meteorologist Brooks Tomlin. He is in the Weather Center keeping an eye on that track. Hi, Brooks.
Hey, good morning. Good afternoon, Amy and Bob. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Labor Day 2019. Not how we wanted to spend it, but again, we're looking at maybe a little bit of cautious optimism with the track of Dorian. First off, what a reset. We do have hurricane warnings in effect through the event for Brevard, coastal Volusia, and I expect the hurricane watch in Flagler. That'll eventually become a warning as we go through the day. And then tropical storm warnings in effect for the I-4 corridor. Give you the latest on Dorian. Again, it is starting to move towards the west-northwest, officially at 1 mile an hour. You can see the satellite from the last 12 hours. It is starting to pull away from Grand Bahama Island, and that's the good news. Winds, though, still very strong, 155 miles an hour. Last thing I want to show you, the track. Again, you mentioned the track and the cone of uncertainty. The National Hurricane Center has taken a lot of Central Florida out of that cone of uncertainty. We expect Dorian to pass by as we go through late Tuesday into early Wednesday. Back to you.
All right, Brooks, thank you. Got some breaking news we're following right now. Seminole County leaders, they're holding their press conference at the Emergency Operations Center.
And let's go ahead and listen in.
Declaration authorizes FEMA to provide federal support and assistance for emergency measures to save lives, protect property, and for the protection of public health and safety. There are a number of ways that you can stay informed. You can sign up for text alerts by texting the word Dorian, D-O-R-I-A-N, to 888-777. Also at our website, which is www.seminolecountyfl.gov/Dorian for up-to-date storm information. Or you can call into our citizen information line, 407-665-0000 for storm-related questions. At this time, I'll ask Alan Harris, our Emergency Management Administrator, to talk about some more specifics of Seminole County emergency operation plans. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. This afternoon at 12 noon, we have opened up shelters across Seminole County to protect our community from the onslaught of tropical storm force winds. We have 4 general population shelters and 3 persons with special needs shelters open. The 4 general population shelters are Crystal Lake Elementary School, Lyman High School, Lawton Childs Middle School, and Midway Elementary School. The 3 special needs shelters are Bentley Elementary, Lair Elementary, and Highlands. We have pet-friendly shelters that are available for folks with pets. For general population, Lyman High School is a pet-friendly shelter, and for those with special needs, Bentley Elementary is the shelter. We have instituted an evacuation order for those in mobile, manufactured, and modular homes, as well as low-lying areas. A flood warning has been activated here in Seminole County by the National Weather Service. We ask that you exercise caution around flood zones. Remember, turn around, don't drown, so localized flooding is possible, and flooding along the St. Johns River is expected at the end of the week. The St. Johns River flooding a little bit slower than the other tributaries that go into the river. Sandbags will be available after the storm when it is safe to do so. So sandbag operations will reopen again after the storms. Now I'll turn it over to Sheriff Lima.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you for tuning in and staying alert. I want to talk just a little bit about curfews. We see the need in some cases for curfews, but at this particular time, there are no curfews and there are no planned curfews in Seminole County. That could absolutely change as the uncertainty of the storm kind of grows. What I do want to say about curfews is our philosophy has always been to exercise extreme caution, and when we issue a curfew, it is only the amount of time necessary to preserve public safety. We know that some of the most intrusive actions that a government can take is to restrict the movement of law-abiding citizens. So if we do find a need to do that, we will make sure that you're well informed, and it will be as short of a period of time as possible. We know that our communities heal when neighbors help neighbors and citizens can help citizens. So that's an important part of what we do. For these voluntary evacuation areas, the low-lying areas, or the manufactured home communities, you can rest assured that there is an increased law enforcement presence in those areas, both with visible marked patrol cars from the Sheriff's Office, as well as our partnership with all of the municipalities in Seminole County. What you see going on here at the county level is also being replicated in various cities throughout Seminole County, and I'm working directly with those chiefs of police, and we're working directly with those city managers on our overall strategy, so there's consistency between the county and the various cities in Seminole County. The evacuation area, some are going to be in marked vehicles, and other law enforcement officers will be in unmarked, plainclothes vehicles. Again, we want to protect people's property if they choose to walk away from the area. If we do have conversations about curfew and any type of restrictions, we do that in concert with contiguous Central Florida communities. We know that we have a very close area here in Central Florida, and a lot of people work or commute back and forth between Orange and Seminole County. So I've been in conversation with the local sheriffs in the Central Florida area, and our teams will work together on do something that is reasonable when it comes to that. Again, after the storm, safety is probably one of the most important things that we can make you aware of, and for the Sheriff's Office, it's typically the time that we see most of our problems. It's the storm passes through and people want to go out there and assess the damages of their property. They want to take a look at their neighboring property. They want to go somewhere else. So use extreme caution, even if there are no curfews getting out on the road. Actually, I've been driving all around Seminole County today, and I'm extremely proud of our citizens staying at home, and there's very, very few cars out on the road even now. When you're looking at shelters, Alan mentioned that, as soon as we open the shelter at noon, we're already getting people in there, and we want to make sure that those accommodations are as comfortable as possible, and know that we have deputy sheriffs that are stationed at each one of these locations, and they will remain there throughout. In many of the locations, there's several deputy sheriffs there, and they're not only there for safety and security, they're there to provide any assistance to you or your family members, and that's a great partnership with our school board. Superintendent Walt Griffin allows us the opportunity to do that. Keep your eyes out for price gouging. Our Attorney General Ashley Moody has taken a strong stance and effort, and if you see that, I want you to contact your local law enforcement agency. You can do that by our non-emergency line, or in situations like this, call 911. All of the calls will come back into our hub, and we will get out there and do all that we can to make sure that people are not taking advantage of this situation. Again, I want to remind people that when it comes to loss of power, there's a lot of situations, especially with the major intersections. Our major intersections are on battery backup. That battery backup will last for at least 8 hours, and then after that, our intersections are run off of generators. And I made the statement the other day about, don't try to steal our generators. We are tracking our generators. We've got GPS monitoring on our generators, and the last storm that we had 6 people be so bold to take a generator from one of our intersections. We're not going to stand for that. I mean, there's not only a concern with the theft, but there's an imminent public safety concern if you take that resource away from those traffic signals and people are running through there. So I'll let you know now, there's no secret. We've got GPS trackers on them. We know exactly where they're at and where they're going to go. There'll be no value to you at all. And last and certainly not least, I think now is the time where all of our work and dedication with our fire department, our public safety, our EMS, our school board, all of the elected officials of the county, this is what we plan for year after year, and we are absolutely prepared to meet this situation head on. The Sheriff's Office has 7 vehicles that are heavy vehicles that can respond regardless of what the weather conditions are, but we prefer not to take those vehicles out when winds are sustained for more than 45 miles per hour. So I want you to use caution. Think about what you're calling 911 for. If you're going to report the theft of a tag that occurred last week, this is probably not the time to do that. So I want you to be very, very guarded on what you're doing. And last and certainly not least, I know a lot of people talk about hurricane parties, and I said it before that, a lot of times people will indulge in adult beverages and kind of sit through the storm and do what they can. Never put yourself in a position where your normal faculties are impaired. In the event that your garage door is ripped off, or God forbid your roof comes off, you want to make sure that you are aware enough of your situations to go to aid or find some relief, not only for you and your family members as well. So we'll keep you informed, we'll keep you posted, but thank you for staying off the roads, and thank you for taking this storm very serious.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon. Mark Oakes, Fire Chief of Seminole County Fire Department. We would like to ask the public to use and exercise extreme caution during the storm when hazardous conditions, winds occur outside. Your safety is our main priority. Secondly, the fire department at some point during the storm, due to the winds, will be unable to respond. We'll make that call accordingly when throughout the county. Sometimes in the southern end, it could happen before the northern end. But wanted to make sure that you understand we will respond to calls up to a certain point when it becomes unsafe for our vehicles to be on the road. Last and not least, carbon monoxide poses a significant risk and a life safety issue for our residents. Please use extreme caution when using generators. Never inside the home or over porches where carbon monoxide can get into the home. And last but not least, I want to make sure everybody understands we've been working with the fire chiefs of Seminole County and its cities. We've been planning for over 5 days for this event. We have the resources in place early tomorrow morning, and we will be able to meet the need during the storm and after the storm. Thank you. Be safe.
Good afternoon. I'm Walt Griffin, Superintendent of Seminole County Public Schools. This morning at 9 a.m. we notified all our families that we will be closing school not only tomorrow, Tuesday, September 3rd, but also Wednesday, September 4th. Also, just for your calendars, our 2 makeup days already are scheduled by our calendar on October 17th and October 18th. Please make sure you are registered and updated in our Skyward system. It is the only messaging available that we have to get to you via phone and electronic messaging. Thank you and stay safe.
All right, now I'll open up if anyone has any questions. Any questions? All right, I'd like to ask Bob Cortez to come up. He's going to give a recap in Spanish.
Seminole County stepping away now from the news conference there in Seminole County. We heard from Sheriff Lima there and Walt Griffin, the superintendent of schools.
Right.
If you want to get that information on the schools, when it might reopen, Skyward, that's the way to get that.
Right, exactly. But the update this morning is closed now Tuesday and Wednesday as well. All right, what's happening right now, mandatory evacuations are underway in parts of Brevard County.
Parts of the county urged to get out now while there is still time. We'll get the news station's Mike Magnoli. He's live in Melbourne.
All right, we don't have Mike right now, but we want to continue to update you on what's... All right, now we got him. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey there, everybody. Well, we got a little bit of wind out here, so it's a little difficult to hear you, plus the surf. Have a look. Very impressive, and a lot of folks coming out here to take pictures and to get a look at this before things could potentially start getting nasty out here. Now, Barrier Island, coastal Brevard County, is in an evacuation order. That went into effect yesterday morning. Brevard County has about 588,000 people, and as you well know, very popular tourist destination. You think about it, especially Labor Day weekend. A lot of folks would come to Melbourne, in the Atlantic, Cocoa Beach. Well, you can see quite a lot of folks here, but this is to just take pictures and to sort of soak this all in. I can tell you the popular tourist spots, the shops and the restaurants, a lot of the hotels over here are closed down. Plywood and shutters over the windows. So definitely looks like folks are preparing for Dorian here in coastal Brevard County. And you know, past couple of months, they have spent tens of millions of dollars on a beach renourishment project to undo the damage that was done in previous storms, especially Irma. And so right now the concern is that if Dorian brings a large surge, if you have a lot of water coming up here, all of that sand could be relocated. Matter of fact, folks were telling me that one storm, the sand was in the middle of the parking lot, almost ankle deep in the middle of the parking lot. So that's the situation out here. Melbourne Beach. We're going to be checking back in with you periodically over the course of the afternoon. You can definitely see, though, the effects of Dorian starting to show. Back to you.
It's about as close to a hurricane as you really want to get.
Yeah, you don't want to get close, that is for sure. As we continue to give you the latest on Dorian, of course, we know a lot of you wanted to watch the drag race today. You can find the scheduled NHRA drag racing over on our sister station. Just tune into My 65.
And the news station is continuing to monitor Hurricane Dorian. We will have expanded coverage around the clock. Also, you want to download that Fox 35 weather app. Right there, you can get the very latest on Dorian's track. You can even watch us live right there on the app as well. Even if you lose power in your phone is charged up, you can watch us. We'll be right back.
Copy 3, thank you 3. 8031, yep.
No.
Welcome back. 117, you're watching continuing coverage of Dorian on Fox. We want to get you the latest on where the storm is right now.
Let's check in with meteorologist Brooks Tomlin. Brooks?
Yeah, good afternoon, Bob, Amy. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a good Labor Day afternoon. Not the way we wanted to spend it, but again, starting to be cautiously optimistic on what the track of Dorian and our impacts will be. First off, hurricane warning for Brevard County, coastal Volusia County, Flagler County. The hurricane watch will become a warning as we go through the afternoon. And again, the weather will begin to deteriorate as we go through the day tomorrow, especially in the afternoon and evening hours. Tropical storm warnings in effect for a lot of central Florida. Here's the latest on Dorian continuing to batter Grand Bahama Island. But real quick, you can note the eye of the storm is moving slowly towards the north and the west. Not calling the change yet. Hurricane Center says it's moving west-northwest at 1, but that's a little bit of cautious optimism right now and more confidence in the fact that it will track offshore. National Hurricane Center with the latest forecast track. Jamie King and Kristen Giannis brought it to you earlier today. Again, for the next 12 to 18 hours, still moving very, very slowly to the northwest of the Bahamas. And then it starts to move a little faster, higher confidence it will stay offshore of central Florida. Hence, the cone of uncertainty has been narrowed. Now, as we go through the day tomorrow, Dorian will approach from the south and the east. Our weather conditions will deteriorate depending on two things. Number one, where you are located, how close to the Atlantic you are, and number two, how far Dorian is offshore. Right now, a good guess, a good forecast is roughly 70 miles. More on that in about 30 seconds. And then as we go through Wednesday morning into the midday of Wednesday, Dorian tracks to the north. We will see much improving weather conditions. As a matter of fact, we'll see the sun on Wednesday, a lot of it, and we'll see gusty winds. Some forecast guidance shows the winds stronger on Wednesday out of the west than on Tuesday. That is to be determined. Now, let's compare Dorian's track from the National Hurricane Center, the forecast track, to three recent hurricanes. The red, that's Dorian's forecast track from the National Hurricane Center. And you can see it's just east of this blue track. That blue track right here, that was Matthew 3 years ago. So if you remember what the weather conditions were like during Matthew, then Dorian looks to be taking a track either close or even further offshore than what Matthew did. This track right here from 1999, that was Floyd, and this track right here, 89, that was Hugo. Last thing I'll leave you with, again, Guardian Live Weather Radar, a good pinpoint right now on Dorian over Grand Bahama Island. For us, that onshore northeast flow will continue today, tonight, and tomorrow. Not expecting much in the way of thunderstorms, but plenty of tropical downpours. Back to you.
Brooks, thank you. Let's talk about Volusia County right now. People in some of those areas are being told to leave. There's a mandatory evacuation that started this morning.
The news station's David Martin has been joining us live for much of the morning and now the afternoon, and he's still out there with his photographer, Apollo. Good to see you guys.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hello, guys. Yes, I've taken the co-pilot seat for this particular live shot. It's easier for me to talk to you rather than drive and talk, because then I'll run into something or hurt both of us. So this is Paolo Almeida, my partner in crime out here as we cover the storm for you from Daytona Beach, the world's most famous beach. What I want to do now is take you on a little tour on the bridge that takes you from the mainland over to the barrier island. It's the famous 92 bridge. I'll turn the camera around. Of course, right now we're behind a bus. We're always behind a bus, but you can see the beautiful blue sky there. It wasn't like that about an hour ago. We had a lot of rain coming down, some mild gusts as well. So clearly an indicator that the storm is a brewing, no question about it. We just got back from the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center for Volusia County, where they did announce that the bridge that we're going to be going on will close once those winds get to a sustained 39 miles per hour. So that's something to take into consideration. Although it is a mandatory evacuation, you wouldn't know it at this point given the sheer amount of traffic we're seeing here on Beach Street. There is a local state of emergency in play as well. 15 shelters are now open in Volusia County, and 14 of them are in schools, and the 15th, Bob and Amy, is at a fairground. Now, what do you take from these shelters? Well, if you have to go, they said think of it as a camping trip. Think of it as a lifeboat, not the love boat. And I thought that was a great way of putting it. Just the essentials that you might need there. The foods, your medications, your identification, and some are pet friendly and some are special needs. All right, now we are making our right-hand turn here onto the International Speedway. We got a beautiful, glorious drive over that bridge. It is such a wonderful view at this hour as we head eastbound on 92 right to the ocean. We're climbing up that ramp. We all know it, right? When you come out here to Daytona Beach, it's the last highway, the last roadway before you hit the barrier island and A1A. I'll turn the camera northbound here. As you can see, Paolo's driving safely. Nothing to report on that side. On the right over here, over yonder, that would be, in that direction, Hurricane Dorian, and lots of surf churning up, of course, here. Now, as we head over the hill, going down the bridge on 92, you can start seeing the resorts and the hotels in play. You see the boardwalk and the slingshot out there on the horizon. It's a very smooth ride. Some utility trucks heading to probably be stationed somewhere to help out if need be. Very calm scene right now. Not a lot of traffic to report, which is excellent. They are talking about people going to the ocean today. They encourage you not to go to the ocean because there is a heavy surf. There are double red flags posted, which means you can't get into the water. You shouldn't get into the water. There is debris from other countries, they're saying, already from Hurricane Dorian floating about, and so it's not safe to get into the water. Okay, so here's the famous shot we all see when we come down 92. We are approaching 90, that would be A1A in our foreground there. That's the entrance to the beach. You get the world's famous taffy shop down there. I love it down here on any given hot summer day. It's so much fun. Of course, today it's rather empty. Northbound A1A to our left, southbound A1A to our right. So, what can we show you at this point? Not much, because we're stuck at a red light again, Bob and Amy. But what we're going to do is head back to a hotel and establish some shots for you on the ocean and try to get you some shots of the surf as well. I hope you enjoyed our tour of the 92 bridge going over to the barrier island here in Daytona Beach.
Make sure you guys obey the traffic laws.
Absolutely.
Because that would be dangerous.
David doing his best. Julie McCoy there from the Love Boat right
He's
there.
He's wonderful.
All right, coming up, we're going to continue to watch and wait on Hurricane Dorian. We're take to the street asking people how they're planning on getting through it. It's 1:24 here on this extended coverage of Hurricane Dorian.
Welcome back. 126 right now. Some shelters all across Central Florida. They have now opened officially. Brevard, Orange, and Polk County opened their shelters on Sunday morning. Flagler, Volusia Lake, and Osceola County, they are all opening their shelters today. Seminole and Marion counties are still on standby. And of course, you can go to our website, fox35orlando.com, to see a full list of all the shelters and when they will be officially open. And they never close. That was one thing we heard this morning. They say once the doors are open, you just come in.
Preparations for the storm have been going on for days now.
People are now watching and waiting, and many people are ready for it all to be over. The news station's Robert Guadarrama reports.
Utility crews from all over the country have arrived here in Orange County to assist OUC in getting power back up if Dorian does wipe it out. Now take a look behind me. About 10 trucks are here now, but about 100 are expected in the next 24 hours. We have some line technician buckets here, and then down the row we have some tree trimmers. Now, along with these utility crews, they'll be waiting with the public to see what Dorian does. We went out today to speak with people to find out how they're feeling after a week of uncertainty. Central Floridians on edge and growing tired. A week-long roller coaster of uncertainty surrounding Dorian's path. Sandbags are packed, supplies stocked. Now we wait.
I don't even know if it's like coming towards Orlando or if it's gonna pass Orlando.
That's because the hurricane models keep moving away from the coast, then closer.
Because you don't know whether to be prepared or to just be calm about the situation.
It's always in the back of your mind, yeah, absolutely. So I'm watching the TV any chance I can get just to make sure, see where the path is going.
Just gotta wait patiently and ride it out.
Most people we spoke with are feeling optimistic.
It seems to be pretty offshore at this point.
I don't really think it's going to be as bad as everybody thinks that it is. We're not thinking about the worst.
Yeah,
we're thinking about just a little rain and a little wind, and we'll be all right.
While we continue to remain cautiously optimistic about this storm, we do have to realize that it is a massive storm that is still somewhat unpredictable.
But everyone agrees, let's get it over with.
We're just ready for it to get here, just so we can move on.
And so the waiting continues to see where Dorian goes. These utility crews, along with local governments and the public, hoping for the best, but fearing the worst. Reporting in Orange County, I'm Robert Guadarrama, Fox 35 News.
A Flagler County artist is getting, well, artistic as we all await Hurricane Dorian. Stephen Belisle is painting a mural of Dorian on a boarded up window at a gas station in Flagler Beach.
This is the only hurricane they want to see here in Flagler Beach, and hopefully it's the only one we do see, but I guess we're just going to kind of have to see what happens.
Funny, that painting of Dorian is moving about as fast as the actual Dorian.
You're so right.
Belisle says he plans on staying, waiting out Dorian at a friend's house in Flagler Beach.
Good for him. It looks really good.
It does look
talented.
good. Well done. Hey, we're keeping you up to date with everything that you need to know about Hurricane Dorian.
Ahead, we're going to have a panel of experts in studio to answer any questions you might have. Just go to our Twitter or our Facebook page if you want to submit a question. You can tweet us at #DorianOnFox. 129 right now, so we continue to cover the storm. Here is a look at Guardian radar this morning. We're starting to see some of those showers trickle in. So if you're looking out and you see ominous skies and there's some rain coming down, well, we're starting to see a little bit of the impact. We'll be right back.
right now on Fox 35, the news station.
Dorian already doing damage. Trees with limbs sheared off in the Bahamas. Strong winds remaining there. People outside trying to get that debris cleared away. Just about every car and truck in a parking lot either damaged or destroyed.
Yeah, at 1:32 right now. And, sadly, there was loss of life in the Bahamas as well. So we know now this is a deadly storm. We do have more for you as we monitor Hurricane Dorian today.
First thing we want to do, though, of course, is get over to meteorologist Brooks Tomlin with the very latest on the storm. And coming up at 2 o'clock, we get another sort of an advisory, a position alert, correct?
Yeah, no forecast track change at 2 o'clock, more than likely. That comes at 5 o'clock this afternoon, but we will get another advisory from the National Hurricane Center at 2 o'clock. And good Monday afternoon, everybody. Brooks Tomlin in the Fox 35 Weather Center. Want to keep you up to date on Dorian. In the bottom right-hand corner of your screen right here, you can see the latest on Dorian. Here are the warnings for Hurricane Dorian as it comes towards Central Florida. Hurricane warning in effect for Volusia County, coastal Volusia and Brevard counties. And again, Flagler County, the hurricane watch will become a warning as we go through the next few hours. We do expect the strongest winds as Dorian passes by to be along the coast, along probably A1A and further east. We'll get more on that in just a few minutes. Here's the latest advisory on Hurricane Dorian. 155-mile-an-hour sustained winds, so winds down from yesterday's 185. It doesn't take much, but take a look at the eye of the storm. It is moving slowly, creeping along to the north and the northwest, and hopefully this is going to indicate the change of motion that we've been anticipating for the last couple of days. Again, Dorian's forecast track from the National Hurricane Center, not a lot of movement for the next 12 to 18 hours. So if you have any last-minute plans or preparations, get them done today, tonight, even tomorrow morning, because the weather here will start to deteriorate as we go through tomorrow afternoon significantly, depending on two things: how close you are to our Atlantic coast and how far Dorian tracks out to sea. Right now, the position at 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, offshore Brevard County. By 8 o'clock Wednesday morning, offshore Flagler and St. Johns counties, passing roughly 70 miles off the coast here. More on that in about 10 seconds. And then as we go through the rest of the week, the forecast track does take it close to South and North Carolina. Now let's talk about the track for Dorian. The track from the National Hurricane Center, I have it here in red. Now again, that's the center line track. And then I put 3 recent hurricanes that tracked off our eastern coast on there as well. The most notable, this blue line that's closer, that was Hurricane Matthew 3 years ago. And the National Hurricane Center for Dorian is forecasting a similar track to Matthew, or even Dorian could be a little further east. So if you remember what the weather was like during Matthew, we expect similar conditions, or maybe if Dorian tracks further east, a little better conditions as Dorian passes by. Guardian Live Weather Radar, we've been showing it to you again, tracking the center of Dorian over Grand Bahama Island, also tracking a lot of tropical moisture. We have a deep tropical atmosphere across central Florida, and so we're not expecting much, if any, thunderstorm activity today or tomorrow because the air is so tropical. We will have tropical downpours. Last thing I'll leave you with right now, the winds. They've been out of the north and the northeast all day. They will continue out of the north and the northeast until Dorian starts to pass us by late Tuesday into early Wednesday. Again, right now, steady, generally between 10 and 20 miles an hour. Weather starts to deteriorate tomorrow as we go through the afternoon hours. Back to you.
Thanks, sir. Volusia County also under a mandatory evacuation order. The barrier islands, mobile homes, RV parks, and low-lying areas. 14 schools right now prepped to become shelters. 6 of them are for special needs. We've got a list really of all of the shelters that are out there in every county right there on our website, fox35orlando.com. The news station's Danielle Lama is stationed right now in New Smyrna Beach.
And she has the latest on what's going on there. Danielle?
Good afternoon. Certainly breezy conditions out here, and take a look at the ocean. It is roaring right now. You can see those very large waves, the white caps, that water coming up all the way to the seawall at some points. And I want to show you, we're just off Flagler Avenue. This is usually a really busy area of New Smyrna Beach. Right now, looking more like a ghost town. You can see a lot of the businesses are boarded up. They have the shutters down. They are ready to try and take on whatever this storm may bring their way. Now, as you guys just DeSantis mentioned beachside Volusia County under a mandatory evacuation, but you can see there are still people out and about right now taking some pictures and just kind of seeing what the beach is looking like. I've got Bob and Jackie here. They are New Smyrna Beach residents, and you live beachside.
Yes.
So what are your plans?
We're going to evacuate just before the causeway's closed. We're going to wait as long as we can, then we're going to go back to the mainland and stay in a condo that's really it's a fortress. So we've done it before for other hurricanes, for Matthew and for Irma. So we're pretty happy that that's going to work for us.
Did you have to prep your home at all?
Yes, we're still finishing some things, but we're going to shut everything down, turn off the power and turn off the water. We're on a second floor unit in a condo, so we're going to turn off everything so it's as safe as we can go. Yeah.
Basically just watching from across the river.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't want to go too far because we want to come back home as soon as possible. Yeah. We love New Smyrna Beach.
All right, good luck to you. Thanks so much for talking to us. All right, we'll send it back to you guys live in the studio for now.
That was a great interview, Danielle. Thank you. We know a lot of people love those beach communities, and hopefully they will not be too beat up by this storm.
Fingers crossed. Got Hurricane Dorian forcing Port Canaveral to close down. The port officials are telling us no ship will be in, regardless of size or service, will be allowed to pass through. They add the drawbridges, by the way, will close before predicted gale force winds get there, which means 39 miles an hour. Not going to reopen until the severe weather is past.
Thousands of power crews are getting into place ahead of the storm. You've got Duke Energy, OUC, and FPL, all of them bringing in workers from around the country, even Canada, to help restore power if, in fact, it does go out. Now, once the storm passes, power companies say that you should report any outages, and, of course, you'll want to stay away from those down power lines. Most injuries happen after a storm.
Governor DeSantis suspending tolls for evacuees. State Road 528, State Road 417, and State Road 429 are included in the suspensions, as well as the express lanes, I-95 and I-75, and the Turnpike.
If you need a place to evacuate to, Rosen Hotels and Resorts, they're offering a special discounted rate at all of their hotels. They have 8 of them here in Orlando. Their hotels booked through Tuesday, but they do have vacancies starting on Wednesday. The costs start at $59 a night, and many of them are also pet-friendly.
Yes, they are. Lynx buses, they will run their Labor Day schedules today. Then they'll be shut down for the remainder of the storm. They will only provide, though, life-sustaining trips, like if you need to go to a dialysis treatment.
And Sunrail says, nope, we're still shut down all week long. Service was already scheduled to be shut down for Labor Day. Officials say it should be back up and running next Monday, which is September 9th. And, of course, we'll continue to keep you posted on that. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Again, you're watching continuing coverage of Hurricane Dorian on Fox 35.